How you doing? I'm Magic Tony. I want to thank you for having me, and I want to thank the Ignite crew for setting this up. It's a great event. I'm going to jump right into a demonstration that I think should really set the stage for what I'm going to talk about this evening. Everybody gets to play along, but keep in mind this is just an experiment. It could fall flat on its face. Either way, it's fun for you. You busy? You can stay right there. You're going to be a representative of the audience. I want you to use your imagination. I want you to imagine you've just bought a brand new widescreen color TV, and you've had it installed in your home, but the installer screwed it up royally. They mounted it on its side, so it's actually taller than it is wide. Not only that, they failed to hook up the cable right, so all you get is fuzz. It's crystal clear fuzz, though. So you're sitting in front of the TV with your family watching fuzz one evening, and you notice an image flashes through the fuzz. It's very brief. It's hard for you to make out what it is, but you notice there's a number on the top left and bottom right hand of the screen. You also notice there are some of those things, bam, 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 pips down the center of the screen. You realize it's a playing card. What's the playing card you've just seen flashed on that screen? Would you say it in a loud voice? Go for it.
Three of clubs.
The three of clubs. This experiment has just fallen flat on its face. The next screen, no, 2 screens from now, is going to be a prediction. And I had to submit these slides a couple weeks ago, so you know it's a prediction. Just out of curiosity, how many of you in the audience thought of the 3 of diamonds? Raise your hand. More than you would guess by chance. And you'll see that that is my prediction, the 3 of diamonds. And we got the 3, that's great. You'd be surprised, this works about 75% of the time. And I've taken a magician's oath, so I can't tell you how this trick works. But Bill Gates took no such oath, and thus PowerPoint will reveal the method to you in subsequent slides. What I can tell you is that this trick is based solely on psychological principles. That's why it doesn't always work. More specifically, it's based on the psychological principle of perceptual priming. So the classic definition of priming is that you'll process a stimulus more quickly the second time you process it. For example, if the Virgin Mary reveals herself to you on a grilled cheese sandwich, you'll recognize the Virgin Mary's face on a grilled cheese sandwich much more quickly the second time you see it, and even more quickly the third time. So anytime, you have to remember, we don't live in a vacuum, because that would suck. So every time you're processing a stimulus, you're processing a number of other stimuli at the same time, stimuli that co-occur with that stimulus. So you're also activating a number of other concepts that are related to the stimulus you're processing. So every time you're processing something, your brain is playing sort of a game of free association, where the amount of activation of each concept is sort of dependent on how often it's co-occurred with what you're processing in the past. So, if this trick had worked, I would say that I took advantage of the structure of your brain and I primed a number of different concepts that allowed your brain to converge on one playing card, the 3 of diamonds. Now, this is a pretty innocuous example of perceptual priming. And I used overt, perceptible stimuli to influence her behavior. But others have used subliminal stimuli to influence behavior in a more nefarious way. Case in point, the 2000 presidential campaigns. The Republican National Committee played a television ad that contained a subliminal prime. They flashed the word rats on the screen for 150 milliseconds. That's half the time it takes for you to blink an eye. Now, they flashed it while they were talking about Al Gore and bureaucrats, so this could have instilled a negative feeling in the viewer about Al Gore. And proof of this is in Weinberg and Weston, who used rats as a subliminal stimulus, and it increased negative perceptions of a fictional candidate. So how can you use priming in your life? I've come up with 2 ways that I can go through real quick. One, a simple nod of the head. If you're trying to get someone to agree with your position, nod your head. It'll more than likely get them to nod their head, and that feeling is so connected to a guttural feeling of agreement that they'll take your position. Second, put well-placed images and objects in your environment and on your website. For example, Kay et al. Used these type of stimuli in an experimenting room, stimuli that are associated with business practices. And they found that people who were tested in a room containing these items, rather than a backpack and a wooden pencil and a normal table, showed more competitive behaviors than the people in the other room. So you might think about putting images like that on your eBay page to increase competitive bidding. So there are lots of ways you can implement priming. I couldn't get through many. Feel free to talk to me afterwards. I've got some handouts. I've got some fun little readings for you. And thank you very much for your time.